From last year, that Week 6 game, 43-40 Chiefs and Patriots. They combined for 692 passing yards in that game. Brady and Mahomes, they are two of the only three quarterbacks that throw for 50 touchdowns in a season. I say today, those passing giants right there. But those running giants, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, will combine for more passing yards and more passing TDs than Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
The legs in the arm will be working today.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So since Tom Brady took over as a starter, 367 times we've seen a home team lose by 20 or more points. For Tom Brady, it's only happened one time. I say today he's going to suffer his worst loss at home against the Chiefs. It would be 25 points. Their worst loss up to this point, 24 points. Chargers back in 2005. We'll say worst loss in the Belichick
And then they'll
Brady
be on to
era.
Cincinnati.
The line's already been rehearsed.
Right. They won 21 in a row at home. Okay, so is this Week 14?
Points.
It is that, sir.
Yeah, well, guess which Hall of Fame quarterback
Oh, boy.
threw more interceptions in Week 14 than any other weekend in his career?
No kidding.
I don't know.
Kurt Warner. You gave more
stuff?
presents to the DBs than Santa Claus did, okay? You threw 14 picks on Week 14.
That's right around the holiday season.
All right.
It's Week 14.
Are we going to show it? All right, yeah, here it is. So, look at, oopsie daisy. All right, catch him, Kurt. Will you catch him? This was Week 14.
Where's Houdini?
You're not going to catch him, Houdini. That is not Houdini. All right. Yeah, you did 14 times of this. You know, there's a lot more that we could. Oh, there's more.
We should keep running
right here. Whoopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy.
Okay, Kurt, throw it to your guy. Nope.
Oopsie daisy.
All right. Enough. Back off on Kurt. He's a sensitive guy. All right. Today, this weekend, the entire league will throw 13 picks or less.
Okay.
As an entire league. That's only happened 3 times in the history of our merged league, okay? Since 1970. 13 picks for a whole darn week, and that's less interceptions than you threw on Week 14 in just 7 starts. Boom. Mark it down on your calendar.
Wow. He had just 7 Week 14 starts.
Yeah, why do you only have 7 starts on Week 14?
Oh, no. I don't know.
There's Nick Bosa. It's a big special teams show, and Bill Belichick absolutely gushed over Ed Reed. Dion the same, and then Dion about everybody. It really was a terrific watch with Chris Collinsworth and me being a fly on the wall. Check it out.
I played with him when I went to Baltimore at the end of my career. I've never seen nothing like it, because you hear, but then when you get there and see, Ed could have been a Hall of Fame cornerback.
No doubt.
I'm not joking. Like, he had the skill set, the anticipation, the hands, the feet, the speed. He had the hips. He had everything it took to be a corner. I don't know why.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because he could get them all more balls at a safety. At safety.
Yeah.
He could get them more
when he
balls.
played safety, we knew Ed was going to go get that ball. He studied his butt off, too. He prepared like no other.
I got to tell you one story about Peyton Manning. There was a game, you probably remember it, in which Peyton threw an interception to you.
Manning, pump fake, going deep for Wayne, intercepted inside the 10-yard line by Ed Reed.
He had studied you all week. I had his game the next week. Studied you all week. That when you opened your hips this way, when they had this route combination, you were going to here, and he knew it.
It wasn't a route combination. It was a go.
Yeah, it was a go route.
He was going backside to Wayne on the go.
Yeah. So he had it all set up.
I'm sure he was dreaming about it at night. He starts, he opens to the middle of the field. As soon as he takes 2 steps into the field, he turns in, wheels, turns his back on the quarterback, and beats Wayne to the ball. Best play I've ever seen a free safety make.
Peyton Manning, I'll guarantee you, knew where Ed Reed was, and it had to fool him that he got all the way there.
One of the greatest plays I've ever seen in the NFL.
Peyton, that particular play, studying him that week,
he pumps that way, he throws that way. So if you look at the play, you'll see Peyton actually pump that way first, and then he looked back, and when he look at me, and I look like I'm going middle. But I know when he pumps, he's going back. That's why it happened that way. You know, so I was just studying him throughout the week. It's like, oh, this is a gimme. If he pumps, I'm just going to open up, make it look like I'm going middle. But meanwhile, I'm turning the whole time. It was like a punt. Like Coach said, I was there before Reg.
One of the best plays I have ever seen.
Thanks, Coach.
Brady and I, we talked about, you got to know where Ed Reed is on the field every time the ball is snapped.
I want you to keep an eye on Ed Reed today. Yeah. Okay, how deep he's playing, how well he's moving. I got you.
Even on the running plays.
Yeah.
Okay, because you would time those blitzes up and be like 8 yards in the backfield when the ball was handed off. It was that Baltimore game, and it was fourth down. It was fourth down, and so he's getting ready to go back on the field because I said, you got to know where Ed Reed is on every play. You got to know where Ed Reed is on every play. We're standing on the sideline. He's like, hey, there he is over there. He's on the 25-yard line.
That's some great stuff.
All right, time for Hall of Famers only, presented by Geico. And I mean, I just appreciate listening to other great people like Coach Belichick talk about these great players and the admiration they have for those players. And maybe the coolest thing to me is we knew that Ed Reed was a playmaker. We knew that Dion was a playmaker. But the amount of study and time that I don't think, sometimes on the outside we don't appreciate that. Well, they're not just a great athlete.
Right.
They put in the time and effort to go with it. So, I mean, obviously, I know you played against a bunch of guys that probably could have been on that list. A couple guys that were on that list. So I'm just going to ask you, best defensive back you ever went against?
Bar none now. And I've had an opportunity to play against a lot of great defensive backs, the Darrell Greens, the Rod Woodsons, the Aeneas Williams, all of these guys. But the guy that put it together the best, you just watched him, and that's Deion Sanders. Because Deion was a beast, man. He was just a beast. And I love hearing the chess match that went on between Ed and Peyton Manning, because that's the same kind of chess match that went on between Deion and I. And Deion was smart enough. He would listen for checks. When Troy went black 62, about late in the game, Deion knew that was a slant, because I would always change my legs up to get across his face. And then I would have to go to Troy and say, listen, I want you to check black 62. But understand, I'm going to change my leg, and then we're going to slant. We're going to pump them. We're going to be a 2-go, a slant and go. And we would try to work that and get Deion. It was always the great chess matches that made it such a great battle between him.
And that's what it's about. You mentioned Aeneas Williams. I didn't play against him a lot, but he was on my team with the Rams. And going against him every day in practice and watching him, how he attacked his craft and the instincts that he had and the things that he saw when we would talk about it, like, oh, really, you're reading that? You're seeing that? Another guy, Troy Polamalu, didn't make the list, but that was a guy because, as Bill Belichick said there, to me, great safeties were guys that you always had to know where they were going to be. And Troy Polamalu, there was times where he'd be down like he was a drop safety on one side. And I'd be like, okay, cool, he's going to play cover 3. I'd snap the ball, and he'd turn and sprint to the back half of the other side, and you're like, what is he doing? Why is he going there? But every time you had to know on the snap where he was going and what he was doing, because there was a method behind the madness. You just couldn't figure it out because like, oh, no way he's going to go. Bang! He's gone. He's running. He's sprinting. I mean, it's